Hello, I'm Monique Hollingshead and I teach here in the School of Performance and Cultural Industries, and the other part of my life is spent freelancing, and I make costumes for theatre and television. A lot of the costumes I do are prop costume, and they involve problem solving. And one of the problems I had with this was I was making some costumes for a TV programme called My Parents Are Aliens on Children's ITV, and they needed the main character, Brian, to have a giant pair of boxing gloves. The idea being that he had to walk in dragging his knuckles on the floor, but they had to be completely like real boxing gloves. From the boxing glove that I had, the normal sized one, I worked out that if the knuckles had to drag on the floor, the crucial measurement was this one, the wrist to the knuckles. And so what I did was measure, or gauge how tall Tony, the actor, was. And he was 6'3", and worked out roughly how far from his arm to the ground. And then that worked out at 5 times the length of this. So what I realised was I would have to scale up by 5 to get a good pattern. Rather than unpick my boxing glove, because I thought I might want to use it again, I took a pattern by laying calico, which is a plain cotton fabric, onto the various areas to work out exactly an exact pattern for the glove. Then I times up by 5 and came up with, this is the example of the outside thumb, came up with a pattern. I only did one because when you're cutting out anything that's a mirror image, a pair of things or 2 sides of a costume, you basically fold the fabric and cut it twice, getting a right and left side. Here's an example of a lady's trouser draft. It's drafted for individual measurements of a particular person, and what you find when you're using the set of instructions to make a draft is that you are using fractions quite a lot. So the use of fractions comes in because, for a start off, when you're making a pattern, you're only drafting half the body because that is just laid twice on fabric that's folded twice. So you need half measurements, half waist, half hip, that sort of thing. But then when you're drafting the front of the trouser or the back, you go into quarters, so you might need quarter the waist, quarter the hip. Also, you might be distributing darts. Darts is a way of controlling fullness by folding the fabric into a point. And they generally have 1 on the front of a trouser and 2 on the back. So then you could go into quarters, plus or minus various measurements, or eighths, or 16ths even, depending on the number of darts you want to use.